We are remembering Pope Francis today. He led the church for 12 years, the first Latin American and first Jesuit pope. And joining me now is Reverend Ryan Duns, a Jesuit priest and theology department chair at Marquette University. Father, thank you so much for joining us in this time. Our thoughts with you and the church here. So we talked about that. A pope of many firsts here. As his progressive leadership indicated, he sort of is credited with modernizing the church. How do you see him as you've been reflecting on what he's meant to the world?
I think Pope Francis so well exemplifies what it means to be a Christian, a man of the gospel, who saw that our faith does not ask us to stay behind protective glass, but actually requires us to go out into the world to get our hands dirty. The gospel doesn't sit easily with any political ideology. And Pope Francis, I think, annoyed people on both sides, but at the heart was a man who wanted to accompany the poor, the alienated, the marginalized, and to offer a word of hope to a weary world desperately in need of it. So as a Jesuit and as a Christian, I could not be more proud of his life and example.
Yeah, many say you can't affect change without annoying the masses, right? So he was somebody who sort of wanted to open up the church. Humble, pious. What do you think about his willingness to sort of reject the ornateness of the office? What did that say to the world, and how do you think he's being viewed during his years as Pope?
I think Pope Francis's own Jesuit vow of poverty gave him a sense of freedom from possessions, a freedom from the honors of the world, because he saw the true good in serving others, in giving his life, laying down his own ambitions and hopes for the good of his neighbor. And I think that's what he's going to be remembered for, a person who embraced the disfigured, who embraced the broken, not because he wanted a photo op, but because he saw them as possessing inherent human dignity and being worthy of love. And so if he helps us in our imaginations and our hearts and helps us to open our eyes, then he has done a great service for the church in helping us to see who really our neighbor is, the person right in front of us. Whether they deserve it or not, it doesn't matter. God's love is boundless and extends to all, and he showed us what that looks like.
Talk to me about his willingness to take on the difficult subjects here. I'm talking about sex abuse in the church, climate change, immigration, the war in Gaza. I mean, he had something to offer on each of those very challenging tasks.
When we look at where Pope Francis inserted himself into the middle of some of the diciest and most controversial topics that we have to wrestle with today, he did so judiciously very often, with a spirit of discernment, a real hallmark of Ignatian and Jesuit spirituality, of trying to listen to the Spirit, and again, very much a hallmark of the Society of Jesus, to seek and encounter God in all things. In the social issues, in the environmental crises, he saw the world as integrated with one another, that there's no siloing off possible, that we're all in this together. And I think that's a great vision, where so often we want to shrink our gaze and look at tiny bits. Pope Francis said, open the doors. The church is for all, and it serves all. And that includes the world. It includes our sisters and brothers here and afar. That's a prophetic call.
As we finish here, I want to ask you, as we look at what's next after this official time of mourning, what do you hope the church will do in terms of expanding on Francis's legacy, or do you see a potential shift in an approach to the ideology?
In a world where I think our political parties very easily replace our religious affiliation and our loyalties, I really hope the next Holy Father continues to preach a gospel that makes all of us a little bit uncomfortable, that asks us to examine our own hearts, consciences, and lives to see whether or not we are living into the mission of the church and having the courage to be prophetic in our words and deeds and how we live the good news of the gospel. I think that would be a gift to the whole world if we took seriously what the gospel proclaims and the vision of the church it offers.
Father Ryan Duns at Marquette, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your thoughts. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.